Heartfelt greetings, my dear friends. I would like to address some of the questions from our light family from all over the world, and we want to make these answers public because we keep receiving the same questions from many of us. They touch very important issues related not only to our endeavors to live in mastery, but some of them touch upon our actual survival in our world. And our goal is not just to survive. We have all power and all potential available to us with no exception, to all of us with no exception, not only to survive, but to thrive, to prosper, even though we live among crumbling and destructured world, which is actually not being destructured, but being restructured, because we restructure it. We replace the existing order of things by what we consciously create, and we know exactly how to do it, and we do it. We just released new alchemical musical power sigil, the field of invincibility. As all of our alchemical tools, they just magnify and amplify the contents of our inner space. We were asked why we're still being attacked by demons and black magic, regardless of how many power sigils and wheels are hanging on our walls and under our matrices. Some of us in Russia and around the world still sincerely think that if they make a wallpaper out of sigils and wheels on their walls, ceilings, and floors, and there's no such a place in their personal space where sigils and wheels are not, then they think that they must automatically, by default, be protected, be successful, lucky, and prosperous, as if those power objects are just another good luck amulet. But really, they're never ever meant to be a replacement of our self work. They just magnify and amplify our self work or lack of it. If you want to be more grounded in this understanding, please read Almine's book, A Life of Miracles. She teaches there what a true prayer is. It's what we think about on a continual basis, not praying for protection for a few seconds and then remaining in fear the rest of our lives. Of course, then fear is a true prayer, and we would get what we're afraid of. And also, she teaches how to discipline our minds and how to create our realities by using our thoughts and feelings. There's a spiritual law for people of all ages. We manifest what we think about, we manifest what we talk about, and we manifest what we write about. If you write to us about black magic attacking you, you manifest new attacks by writing about it. If you stop thinking, talking, and writing about black magic, curses, attacks, and instead you'll be writing, thinking, and talking about a kind of life that's your highest ideal, then you'll always be manifesting your highest ideal. But the question is, does everyone have understanding of their highest ideal? Can you answer a simple question? What do you want? What do you want your life to be like? We find that some people are disconnected with their own selves. They don't know what they want. Then they automatically allow someone else to govern their lives and use them for their highest benefits. And this is not the kind of life that we want to live. And we want to figure out our own goals, purposes, desires, and ideals. Otherwise, we inevitably work for other people's or etheric beings' goals, purposes, desires, and ideals. Almin says that she just teaches us general principles which we can use to govern our lives. She never meant to manipulate our lives or to tell us what to do. That's why we have such a rich and diverse community here. We can see it in our Telegram group, how different we all are. And it's wonderful. We experience our oneness in all kinds of diversity. There are millions of kinds of flowers, birds, animals, trees. We can't imagine the world in which all flowers and trees are the same. There is no sameness in nature. We're all different because we don't live by the same rules. Each of us creates their own lives according to their ideal design. And Almin teaches us how to think and not what to think. Or to be more precise, Almin teaches us to think consciously and intentionally in order to reap the harvest of our words and thoughts. We have a teaching about it in the Life of Miracles book about disciplined thinking. If we want specific manifestations in our lives, we must think specific thoughts about what exactly we want to manifest in our lives. And to think about it on a consistent basis. For example, if our thoughts contradict each other, then everything in our daily lives will contradict each other. If we think a few minutes about abundance and then a few minutes about scarcity, then we will sometimes live in abundance and sometimes in scarcity. Or if we think about our invincibility and sometimes we think the thoughts of fear of demonic attacks, then sometimes we're invincible and sometimes we're under demonic attacks. If sometimes we think about health and sometimes we think about fear of getting ill, then we are sometimes healthy and sometimes ill. And this is not a life of mastery because there's no consistency, no stability in our life experience if we live sometimes this, sometimes that. In order to grow in wisdom and inner strength, to grow in our mastery, we have to maintain those states: wisdom, inner strength, self confidence, self awareness, faith in ourselves. We have to maintain all of those on a consistent basis with conscious effort to make it consistent. Basically, to consciously discipline ourselves to think about the same things that pertain to our path of power, our path of mastery, because every time when we fall away from our mastery, and if we are still interested in the path of mastery, then we want to rise up and start all over again from the beginning. And it means that we're not progressing. Instead of being busy with our progress, we are busy with healing our wounds. Our spiritual progress is determined by our self disciplined consistency. The Toltec Naguals call it stalking ourselves. And it's not something that we do just sometimes, it's our lifestyle. It means that every second of our lives, we consciously create our thoughts related to the Toltec path of power, path of mighty warrior, a mighty warrior of light. It's not as this minute we feel like we're mighty warriors, and next minute we feel like helpless little babies, scared of the unpredictable and evil world around. Basically, if constant rising and falling up and down is our ongoing lifestyle, then it's clearly a path of self destruction because it's the same as we would fall physically every 5-10 minutes. Imagine how dramatic it is for a body, for a physical body to fall down every several minutes. And eventually it may fall and never rise again, or become handicapped for the rest of one's life. It's impossible to calculate the consequences of the falls. One time it can be just a little bruise, another time it can be a vertebral fracture that makes a person paralyzed for the rest of their lives. It's such a pity to see people with broken spiritual backbone. They lack self confidence, self respect, self reliance, self discipline, firmness, and inner strength. And the question is, if a person in such condition is able to calculate something, to count the cost, or foresee the consequences of their actions, are they self aware at all? Just recently, I had an experience to talk with someone who considers himself an enlightened person, but it was as if I talked with someone experiencing severe alcohol intoxication. A person who was not clear in his speech, thought processes, contradicted himself at every step, tried to avoid answering clear and straightforward questions, giving to me instead unrelated metaphysical and New Age verbal diarrhea. But he could use me to help him deal with real issues, which he tried very hard to avoid, as if he just wanted to vent and complain instead of reaching solution, as if he was not able to see that lifestyle of ups and downs is not an option at all. If we consistently fall spiritually, we traumatize our etheric bodies. That's why we want to walk carefully with utmost vigilance and acutest self awareness on our spiritual path in order to avoid falling at all cost. It takes the most extreme self discipline, stalking ourselves in the realm of our thoughts and words, because everything we think about and speak about will be manifested. That's for sure. We can count on it. Instead of being covered with wounds and traumas caused by systematic falling, we choose not to fall. And this is how we get stronger and stronger in our mastery, day by day, hour by hour. And this is the source of our invincibility. We're invincible if we make ourselves invincible, and we can do it. It's just a matter of your intent. And how to make ourselves invincible? There are simple practical instructions on how to use Field of Invincibility Sound Sigil. Just use them and become invincible. We need to understand a very important thing. If anyone still thinks that wheels, sigils, and ceremonies can replace our inner self work, we need to understand that they're alchemical leveraging tools or amplifiers. Basically, they amplify and magnify what you cultivate and express within your inner space. If you cultivate thoughts about your absolute invincibility, greatness, mastery, power, health, prosperity, and success, they'll amplify your absolute invincibility, greatness, mastery, power, health, prosperity, and success. But if you multiply your sigils and wheels on your walls, ceilings, floors, tables, beds, vehicles, computers, smartphones, and wherever else you place them, and constantly think about black magic, demonic attacks, curses, scarcity, failures, sicknesses, and diseases. They will faithfully amplify your black magic, demonic attacks, curses, scarcity, failure, sicknesses, and diseases. Almine clearly warned us that we can't mix her tools with black magic because it will bring chaos in our lives if we do that. If we think about black magic being done against us, this thinking is actually a black magic that we do against ourselves. And we would be in maybe a little better situation if we don't mix it with Almin's tools. Like, for example, Almin warned us multiple times that we can't mix her work with alcohol, drugs, watching pornography, and violence, because using all of those things make us unable to consciously operate our assemblage point. And then it's being manipulated by low consciousness forces that use it against us. So if you still use alcohol, drugs, watch porn, and violence, I'll always be happy to give you all my heart and my attention by your request. It's not a matter of judgment. I don't judge you. I'll answer your questions. I'll provide for you personal consultation by your request, if you want that. I will record for you your personal sound elixir, but with having a full understanding that you are not a part of Almin's work. And I promise you, I'll do my best to talk you out of your self destructive lifestyle, as I do it right now through this video. But until you stop destroying your life by all of this, I'll wholeheartedly recommend you not to touch Almin's tools in order not to make your life worse than the misery that it already is. But you can stop your misery now, and Team Almin Russia will stand by you in this choice of yours. It's imperative to make a clear choice whether we choose the tools that come from the pure source of the infinite or our choice is black magic. We can't have both blessings of the infinite and curses of black magic. And as conscious, wise beings of pure heart and pure intent, of course, we choose blessings of the infinite. No one in a healthy mind and consciousness chooses curse and self destruction. The issue here can be just with misunderstanding something or lack of information, and it can be easily corrected by just providing related information. And this is what we're trying to do for you on a continual basis. Many people suffer just because they don't know how to live differently, and that there are much more great options available. Stay tuned. Talk to you soon.